This exercise is aimed at helping you find a little bit more pelvic rotation in a unilateral or single leg stance. We're working on a little bit of internal, external rotation, as well as coordinating that movement and getting back and sitting back into the backside of your hip. So this is great for backside or posterior hip tension, as well as just learning some more coordination of your pelvis and dissociating that a little bit. So what we're going to do is use the wall here to support us with one foot up on the wall behind you. I'm going to tuck this just so we can see my pelvis here. So when we start, I'm going to have my thighs kind of even with each other. That's going to help you gauge how close to the wall you need to be. And then all my weight's going to be on my front foot. My back foot here, I'm just connecting, making sure my whole foot is on the wall, kind of pushing into the wall with that whole foot, but then keeping a lot of weight on this front leg. Small bend in this front knee, and then my hips are starting even. So we want to make sure this hip doesn't pop out to the side, which is really easy to do. So active through that outer glute here. And then we're going to start in a hinged forward position. This position does not change, okay? We're always going to be hinged forward here, and even standing here, you should already feel like that glute's working to support you here. So our first movement is we're going to rotate into internal rotation with that pelvis. So we're going to rotate towards this front leg, and I'm going to take this thigh and this knee kind of down towards the ground as I rotate towards, making sure this knee and foot stay here. Again, not pushing that hip out or not completely rotating through my whole body. I'm just taking this slight movement. My right hip or my opposite hip goes down. And as I do that, I feel this lengthening through this glute here. Okay, so I find that tension, making sure my abdominals are on and active. And then I'm going to push the ground away through this foot to lift this hip up and back behind me. So this thigh, I'm thinking about pulling and getting back into that hip. Now, I also want to think about keeping this leg in a little bit towards my inner thigh to feel that inner thigh muscle work to lift rather than opening completely here. So it's a very minimal movement down, rotate, and then I push and I lift up and back into that. So see my pelvis turned the opposite way. So I'm angled down this way, rotating here, and then pushing through that foot to lift up and back into this hip, keeping this thigh in to feel that high adductor, that high inner thigh on. And then my core muscles, my abs are on, my ribs are down. Rotate down towards, pull up and back into that hip. Okay, so you're going to feel it a lot on that standing leg to support you, but also, again, you want to feel it in that inner thigh to help you pull up and back, making sure you're not opening too far. Think about those legs moving like railroad tracks parallel to each other.